Big breaking news. Residents are being told to stay inside and close their windows and shelter in place again. This is a whole nother story. This is happening every single day. This time, a major hazardous material processor had a fire and explosion, and this is right outside Boston, Massachusetts, that this happened. So we are seeing another chemical event, and this was a cocktail of hazardous materials, and this business that this happened at is right on the edge of a major river as well. So this looks very familiar. We keep seeing this scene over and over, chemical attack after chemical attack, and it seems like America's critical infrastructure is being hit, and it also seems like we are getting prepared for a chemical or biological attack that could be coming very soon, or we could just see these attacks ramp up, and eventually, before you know it, every major city, every other city is just contaminated. All right, we saw a hazardous material train crash outside Detroit a couple days ago. All right, this keeps happening, and a shelter in place order was in place for Florida yesterday as well, parts of Florida. So let's get into the details here. It says trailers filled with combustible materials catch fire at Clean Harbor site in Braintree. And these trailers are literally hazardous material trailers. They have markings all over them, and they're just filled with barrels and barrels of toxic chemicals, and they've just magically lit on fire in the middle of the night and caused a massive hazardous material fire again right outside of Boston. All right, and you can see here Clean Harbors, it says, is an American provider of environmental and industrial services, including hazardous waste disposal for companies including Fortune 500 companies, small waste generators, and federal, state, provincial, and local government. So this company is like the conglomerate of all the hazardous waste for all the other companies, okay? All the other companies send their hazardous waste to Clean Harbors and expect them to deal with it. So this is the perfect place to hit for a massive fire or chemical attack, because they have dozens of different types of hazardous materials here, and they're even saying that in the same trailer. And they're saying maybe these materials were even magically reacting with each other, and that's what caused this fire. Okay, you can see here residents were told to stay in their homes with the windows closed after a fire broke out at Clean Harbors site in Braintree late Thursday. Firefighters responded, and Clean Harbor officials said that the materials in one of the trailers self-reacted. The trailers contained a mixture of paint, epoxy, oil filters, solvents, and similar waste materials. Just great. I'll show you pictures of it in just a second. Just barrels and barrels of toxic material in these trailers, and multiple trailers have caught on fire in this region. And you can see here that hazmat teams and other public safety agencies were called in because Clean Harbors specializes in hazardous material. All right, so this is a hazardous material company having a hazardous material fire. All right, you can't make this up on top of all the other things that we've had. And it says Clean Harbors is located near the Weymouth 4 River, which flows into the Boston Harbor. Right next to Clean Harbors is a Citgo storage facility where thousands of gallons of fuel are stored, as well as a fertilizer company, a chemical manufacturing company, and a natural gas pipeline, and the town's power company. All right, I can't even believe all these things are right next to this hazardous material waste facilities. It's like, who's doing this city planning? Who approved this permitting? And if this, it says thousands of gallons of fuel are stored, okay, and a fertilizer company. So if this fire spread to this fuel and this fertilizer company, the same chemicals in fertilizer are used to literally make bombs. All right, fertilizers are very explosive, and if this fire would have spread to this fuel company or this fertilizer company, it would have caused a massive chemical explosion. All right, and this is very similar in East Palestine, Ohio, which, I'm sorry, the name of this town is so weird. It feels like a psyop. There's so many things. There's a movie about it. All right, people were given digital IDs okay, a few months ago to surveil their health in case of a toxic airborne events. All right, all this weird stuff is going on there. But the train that derailed in between a massive fuel depot like this that's storing thousands of gallons of fuel and also a heating oil facility supplier. Okay, so both super flammable. It just crashed right in between those as well too. So these events keep happening in situations where they could be 10 times worse. All right, that's why it's like, is somebody doing this? Is somebody engineering this? Are there cells being activated in the United States that are committing these crimes? Okay, our border is wide open, right? It's completely open, and there could be foreign entities, foreign groups crossing our border and committing these acts. We really don't know who's in the country. There could be cells in our country that could be activated at any time. And they're saying they're telling residents to stay inside their homes with the windows closed. And, quote, people were talking about stinging eyes from this event, from these chemicals being burned. I mean, yeah, it's paint, epoxy, oil, filters, solvents, and similar waste materials. Why are all these things stored together? And here's some pictures of these trailers. You can see here, right on the front of them, they have multiple signs for hazardous material, dangerous, flammable, and multiple trailers caught on fire. And look inside these trailers. They just have dozens and dozens of these yellow barrels filled with toxic materials. This almost looks like a bomb or something. Like somebody would like drive this trailer in somewhere filled with these barrels and like do something. Okay, don't ever do that. I'm not saying someone should do that. I'm just saying this is what this looks like from the outside. All right, why would you store these materials like this in these tractor trailers? It really doesn't make any sense. And you're not even separating them. It's like, okay, the solvents are here, epoxies here, paints are here. No, it's just like, we just mix all of these highly flammable toxic chemicals together, and somehow they just self-reacted. Who knows? I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me either. They're in these barrels. How did they just self-react? And why? This is a hazardous material company. This isn't even like a train company that accidentally put like chemicals together. This is what they do. This is a hazardous waste materials company, and they are storing these toxic chemicals all together. And somehow they just magically light on fire. All right, just magic. Nobody knows, and nothing ever happens either. There's no accountability when this happens. I was reading that Norfolk Southern, the train company in Ohio, was trying to give the entire town $25,000. The entire town. Okay? I don't even know if that would pay for like a day of cleaning up this mess. $25,000. Insane. That wouldn't even pay for a day or two of paying for crews and all this stuff to clean up this toxic waste. Insane. That's what they're offering, and there's never any accountability. And it's because these companies always donate to our politicians, okay? And it also makes them look worse if they bring any attention to this. They literally denied federal funding for East Palestine, all right? They actually just reversed their decision because they looked so bad. But they were trying to just ignore it and say, this isn't an emergency. But people can see with their own eyes, and they had to reverse course. All right, one more story here that I wanted to touch on, and it's the same vein, it's the same theme. Semi-truck loaded with 40,000 pounds of onions destroyed by fire just south of the Utah-Arizona border. We keep seeing this too, massive semi-truck crashes holding very valuable materials or very hazardous materials. This keeps happening, and it's just very suspicious. Even if it was a complete accident, 40,000 pounds of onions gone right there, another hit to our food supply. And it just goes to show how vulnerable our food supply is and why you should be growing your own food, okay? So this is critical. I know it's still winter, but you should have chickens. You should be getting your homestead. You should be planting your garden for this spring, this year, because I feel like these fires, these attacks are going to get a lot worse, and we could see a lot more shortages. Just imagine what's happening with eggs, but just imagine that with all the staple products you need: milk, butter, meat, grains, cereals, vegetables, all these things could be in the same exact situation that eggs are very quickly, okay? And we used to be in a situation in America where we just had so much abundance where it was almost impossible to think, okay, this truck crashing, it doesn't even matter. We have so many onions, like who cares? But we're in a scarcity point and in a point where there's shortages and they're trying to clamp down on the supply chain. We are seeing all these attacks where this 40,000 pounds of onions actually makes a difference, right? This actually could affect uh, onion availability in Utah or whatever state they were going to. Like, this is the point we're at where all these attacks are actually having effects now because they've already been attacking us for years. This has been going on for years now, and now it's to the point where every single time it adds up. It's incrementalism. It's 0.1%, but we've already had 0.1% 1,000 times. Okay, we've already had it hundreds of times. We're already at 10, 20% of our food supply that they've taken out. All right, so make sure you are getting prepared. Make sure you are buying bulk seeds. All right, have seeds for your season, but just have bulk seeds prepared. If it hits the fan, you're going to be so happy you just spent like $20 on bulk tomato seeds or bulk lettuce seeds or bulk whatever seeds, and you can buy them in mylar bags that are sealed. And a lot of companies do this now, seed companies, when you buy in bulk, and they will essentially last a really long time in that packaging. All right, so get prepared now, guys. Learn these skills now. You don't want to be learning how to grow food your first time when there's shortages, okay? You don't want to have to be desperate growing food. You want to already know how to do it. So get the experience now before it gets even worse, because we keep seeing attack after attack. A Florida greenhouse and plant nursery was burned down the past 48 hours as well. We just keep seeing hit after hit, and it adds up. So please hit that like for me. Please hit that bell for me, that sub, that bell. Please hit those comments down below. Please go follow me on Twitter, just in case, guys. I'm getting these stories out over there too, and some exclusive stories on Twitter that I don't post on YouTube. So thank you guys so much, and you have a big old blessed day.